Christmas is coming up and I'm pretty busy, so I thought rather than sitting and writing you a brand new show, this is new to most of you. I thought I'd read you some of my stuff from my new book, An Idioms Guide, because it's not been very popular at all. I think I must have sold maybe 7 copies in a year. I released it, I think, in March, and I've tried and tried and tried to advertise it and show it to you, and some of the videos have even done quite well. But I don't know why, but you aren't as interested in this one as you were in the book about shagging tables or torturing sloths. Same as more, people aren't overly interested in that, but that's building a bit of momentum now for some reason. So maybe it's going to take a few years for you to want to buy an Idioms Guide, so I'm going to try and speed that up by at least a few months, and hopefully you'll be buying one of these for Christmas for someone that you like or for yourself to read. So an idiom's guide, like an idiot's guide, an idiom is a phrase that doesn't really mean what it's saying. So until the cows come, it could be an idiom, maybe. But like every cloud has a silver lining. Over the moon, that's a popular one, I would suppose. Do you know? Hopefully that makes sense. Other examples: jump on the bandwagon. Every dog has his day. Mad as a box of frogs. Bun in the oven. And I'm going to read you some of these, and we'll start with bun in the oven because I could never show this one in a video because of the picture for it. Is this obviously all the people look a bit janky, so it's a couple crackhead-looking, pumpkin-headed people almost with like weird jagged teeth. She's got her tits out, but I was tasteful. I didn't draw a vagina on her or a penis on him. He's still got his shirt on, no trousers on but slippers. She's got massive tits, but one's a lot bigger than the other. And then there's some smoke coming out of the oven, and they're shagging on top of a washing machine. Bun in the oven. So, I should probably explain what the point of the book is. So before we get to bun in the oven, that's something for you to look forward to. I'll read just the start of the book. I couldn't put a book out last year, so it's time I put one out. There's lots of phrases that people say, and one of my favourite things to do recently is guess why people say or do stuff, either from a faux anthropological sense or some sort of confused mistranslation from a language I may know a couple words from. So, I won't read it all to you, the introduction, but the idea is, the phrase in this case is bun in the oven, and I'm trying to explain where that originated from, where that phrase was first used and why we now say bun in the oven. Like, for in this case, bun in the oven means you're up the duff, which means you're pregnant. Probably up the duff wasn't the perfect example there. Associated with old witchcraft, a couple struggling to conceive would ask the local soothsayer, shaman, or indeed witch to help them with their struggle. The remedy was often to remove a lot of the hair of the lady and some of the man's hair and tie it tightly together and set it on fire within their home whilst they made love. Maintaining eye contact and loudly inhaling the smoke of the hair was also important. It used to be believed that the sound of each other struggling for air would trigger an innate response for the body to survive by creating itself a new vessel to transfer a part of its soul into. And, just like water, the soul would take the quickest route to the new vessel, via the penis to the womb. So that's the first one that I read you. How about barking up the wrong tree? So the picture for that one, this is a tenner on my website, the book. You can download it from Amazon, or you can download it from my website as well for £2.50. If you use the discount code TABLESHAGGER, I think it's all capital letters, one word, you can download any of my ebooks for £1 as well at the minute. So barking up the wrong tree, you've got a scraggly-haired, fat-haired woman with an hammer, claw hammer, holding on to bits of bark. She's got a bucket of nails, and she's on a ladder, and she's hammering nails into bark on a tree. Barking up the wrong tree. When important guests were arriving, many people would rebark their trees. Especially in the early 1800s, many people saw lichen as unsightly, a blight on the landscape. There were teams across the country in Eastern America that would harvest the bark from trees in dense woodlands and reapply it to the avenues of trees that lined the roads to their customers' houses. Kicking the bucket. So barking up the wrong tree means you're doing the wrong thing, doesn't it? Kicking the bucket. So the picture for this, there is you can see through the door to the number 33 flat. A guy has pissed himself and he's hung himself from the rafters of the room. But it's kind of tasteful. You can see the rope and a bit of the neck, some of the face, and the wet patch in his trousers. Up until the late 1980s, The police had transmit their radio communications on a public FM airwave. The police knew the public may be listening whilst adverts were playing on other radio stations, so they'd regularly speak in code. When a copper would be confronted by a suspected suicide, they would report that the deceased had kicked the bucket. This informed HQ that an ambulance was required, but there was no need to rush. Many people that hanged themselves would literally kick the bucket or furniture away from underneath them while struggling in their last throes of life. More often than not, the suicidal person would use a bucket as it was the easiest item to get your hands on before collapsible steps became popular in the early noughties, thanks to TV shopping channels and late night infomercials. So that, with Christmas coming up, that's quite Christmassy, isn't it? A lot of people do kill themselves at Christmas. Don't give up your day job. So in this picture here, you've got a very fat-arsed and saggy-bellied person talking about pans, and then a longer-arsed person with a little pot belly and very 90-degree angular arms talking about hammers, whilst the wall's making notes. Don't give up your day job. A relatively recent phrase stemming from World War II. In a similar vein to the walls have ears, people were actively discouraged from talking about their jobs outside of the workplace in case enemy spies were listening in. It was accepted that anyone could be a spy. Even people they had known for 30 years could be a German spy. Since 1945, it is believed that our enemies have infiltrated media to make people believe it's normal and accepted to ask a person what they do for work. It is now so thoroughly ingrained in the population that experts claim the amount of spies needed to infiltrate England alone would be a mere 33% of what was required in World War II. This one's called Hang In There. A lot of death in this book, it seems. In this picture here, you've got 3 kids being hung whilst people sleep on the street in front of it, in front of the gallows. If you like the word gallows, listen to one of the newest episodes of Truth Seeking. When children had to be killed for crimes, a good example would be the case of the Sawney children from Scotland a few hundred years ago. Raised in a cave to be inbreeding cannibals, they would eventually be killed by hanging at order of the king after countless victims. That's something that we covered in an episode of in an episode on my Patreon, not on Truth Seeking, the Sawney Bean massacres. That was in when I read some of the books on Patreon, patreon.com/worldaroundyou, £3 a month or a 7-day free trial. Or if you buy something from my website that I send out myself, I send a free month of Patreon to you so you can give it all a go. That's in one of them, Sawney Beans, I think he was called. As they were children, sometimes the light weight of the child would mean they wouldn't die as quick as the adults because there was less downward force to break their necks in the noose. Sometimes evil children would be hanged for hours at a time whilst the life slowly drained from them. If the weather would take a turn, the gallows would be rolled into a covered room so that the spectators could keep watching. They would very literally hang in there, and everyone would wait to watch them die, whether it was for a sense of retribution or just for entertainment because the television was yet to be invented. Bite the bullet. So on this picture is a poster in the background that says "This round's on you." There's a light dangling from the ceiling and 2 very sad looking people chewing something, and you can see that they're chained to the tables as well. The first bullet as we know it today was invented in the first half of the 19th century. Also, anything that I'm saying as a fact in this may or may not be true. The vast majority of it I have probably just guessed and made up anyway, because the whole thing's a nonsense. I love writing nonsense. This was very early on during mass production around the world. Because of this, many barrels of guns weren't rifled identically, and occasionally the bullets wouldn't fit into the chamber correctly. This could result in a misfire or the gun getting damaged, so it became good practice to bite down on the brass casings of each round to narrow it slightly and weaken the connection of the tip to the casing. Long before, many violent individuals would be chewing off all of their bullets, some going as far as forcing their prisoners of war to chew the rounds in anticipation of those manufacturing errors. This one, I think, was a bit taxidermy related. This one's called Flogging a Dead Horse, and there's a picture of an horse's head. Everything's crudely drawn because I've drawn it myself and I'm shit at drawing, on a shield. In the crossover period, when horses were becoming an outdated farming tool and other modes of transport were gaining popularity, there were people looking to capitalise on the panic spreading amongst horse owners. A lot of people didn't care about the fate of the world's equine workforce, so they paid it no heed. Though some people did care, and they wanted to be what shovel salesmen were to the Wild West's gold miners. They tried to push for upholstery made from horse leather, encouraged butchers to sell horse meat, attempted to make horsehead trophies to be considered chic, until eventually settling on turning horses into glue for use across all industries around the world. Ironically, people didn't want to know that glue was made from horses, and many pamphlets were produced trying to blame the beginning of car mass production on the people turning a profit from expired horses. A side note, but some believe the decline of horses indirectly led to the current age of propaganda. Crying over spilt milk. Before proper pasteurisation and filtering methods, it was common to find blood in the fresh milk from the teats that had been pulled raw by overzealous milkmaids as they stare at the farmhand through the crack in the barn door. Due to this lack of concentration from the lusty farm wenches, there would also occasionally be milk shoot away from the bucket or overfill the bucket, causing drippage. Due to the poor treatment of women working on farms, fueled mostly by a jealousy of their natural immunity to the smallpox that was sweeping the land, many of the milkers would overact to the farmhands to get themselves a bit of sympathy. They would act like the farm owner and foreman had been beating them or verbally abusing them to the point of them crying, sometimes causing the widely reported land-based labour mutinies in farms around the world. Many times the, quote, workers have turned on their, quote, masters. It's because of the milkmaid trying to crocodile tears about some dreamt-up spilt milk scenario. And then in the picture here, there's a crack in the barn door, a woman's milking a cow, there's milk spreading everywhere, she's got a massive fat arse, huge tits, terrible hairdo, her head's facing the wrong way, proper muscular arms, but in a thought bubble above her head, there's like a guy's body there, and the cow looks worried. No stone unturned. When it was a lot more acceptable for women to get stoned, as in pelted in the head with pebbles rather than skinning up, there were people who were employed to make sure there were no loose rocks scattered around. Some people wanted to sell the pebbles to make money from the otherwise free entertainment, whilst others believed that the societal justice should be administered by all levels of society, not just those with disposable income to waste on chucking pea shingle at Janice's face after she got caught with Billy outside her marriage. An underground movement started to allow poor people the opportunity to blind and disfigure their neighbours. People would go out in the night and, using tree sap, they applied dry soil and sand to rocks to disguise them to the ground. This way the poor could scurry around the terrain, rooting around for disguised missiles, flipping them over as they found them to help fellow lesser income households ping a few rocks at a lady's face to help alleviate the boredom. A blessing in disguise. I'm not going to read you too many more because I don't want to give away, I'm giving away a good tenth of the book here for nothing. For the ad revenue on here, which I imagine will be about 6p. It's hard to believe, but in some parts of the world, there are a few people that disagree with others' religions. They claim that each other is lying and disrespecting their creator by spreading misinformation about their lives, and occasionally they claim that the other team has their name wrong entirely. In these places, it's common for the religious leaders to dress up as skanky women and hang around under the overpasses near industrial estates. Some men that struggle to pray in peace due to their lifestyles will pull up to these women in their multiple wheeled vehicles, and often these religious leaders will accept voluntary donations, and in exchange they both get on their knees and praise their chosen deity. And then you've got a thing here that says Jen/Eric's haulage, and there's just a guy looking to pick up a prostitute basically. Okay, it's a blessing in disguise. And this will be, the second to last one I've got prepared. Oh, it's another suicide one, boys and girls. Out of the blue. Maybe I was sad when I wrote this. The earliest use of this phrase is a quote I found in a book about psychiatry. Again, for those paying attention, I haven't read the book about psychiatry. I've just made all this up. The earliest use of this phrase is a quote I found in a book about psychiatry. It isn't attributed to anyone in particular, but it is dated to 1876 and translated from another language. It is possible the author may have taken some artistic liberty with the phrase, but it relates to the moment of elation in a suicidally depressed person once they decided to kill themselves. The book claimed the shock of seeing someone be cheery was usually so striking that it was ignored as a factor of suicide. From further reading, it appears that most people agreed in the early 1930s that it was in fact a regular occurrence. Now in the picture of that, there's a really happy guy walking away with a ladder and a noose wrapped around the ladder. He's also quite fat. And the last one I've got prepared, the picture of this one's really good. So, You'll see in some of the pictures are much better quality as well, because I learnt better and more skills about how to draw and illustrate using the writing tablet I bought, just so I can make the books better. So in the picture, they're playing baseball. A couple of the people look like they're a bit simple, but they're all quite muscular and have really muscular arses. But they also all have very, very strange heads. And one guy's holding a baseball bat, the pitcher's throwing a ball, and then there's someone running around with a bucket on their head. Into the swing of things. Idiots have always existed. Before planking, howling and screaming, can I get a "oh yeah" down a supermarket microphone to a shop full of unimpressed grocery shoppers, you had the "what a helmet" trend of the 1880s. Whilst Americans patiently waited for the invention of a television, they'd fill their time by wearing metal coal buckets and pails on their heads and running into oncoming baseball bats and golf clubs. Newspapers attempted to vilify these hollow-headed hooligans as they ruined private and public sports games. People never change, though, and all this did was give the uninspired the motivation to play the game for themselves, and before long, children and simple-minded adults alike were running into the swing of things. So I'm saying that's where we got the phrase "into the swing of things" from. So hopefully you've enjoyed this. It's a much simpler way of doing the show. Maybe I'll end up reading these as ebooks, I don't know, as digital books at some point, but that's not possible at the moment because I'm too busy. Thank you for buying stuff off me. Hopefully you're now going to buy my book as well, or download it. If you buy it from Amazon, it saves me packaging it. I make a little bit less money, but if enough of you did it, I'd get up the charts. But we'd be talking thousands of people. And I'll be honest, guys, thousands of people hardly listen to this podcast. There's not a lot of yous. You might look at me followers and think, ooh, I bet loads of people listen to his podcast. No, they don't. It turns out a lot of people aren't interested in paranoid ramblings and bad life hacks and conspiracy theories that may or may not be true. People just aren't as into nonsense as you'd think, and the sales of this book, An Idioms Guide, proves it. But like I say, there's a discount code, Table Shagger. You can use that and you can download me books for £1 each off my website if you're interested. But I'm not sure how long that code will last for.